The house grew heavier by the day. The living room, once filled with traces of family, now felt like an old photo album no one dared to open, suffocating in its silence. Every time I walked down the hallway, I tiptoed. Even I didn't want to disturb the stillness. Each morning, my father left the house in a worn gray suit. He had been fired months ago. But he never told my mother. I might have been the only one who knew. One morning, I happened to see his bedroom door slightly ajar. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. The slope from his fingers to his shoulders was trembling. That image, framed by the narrow slit of a door, has never left me. He kept his routine. He left at the same time. Every day, wandered aimlessly through alleyways or along the riverbank, then came home. His shoes were always muddy. When he returned, he did nothing. Just slipped into his room and closed the door, remaining silent until late into the night. Sometimes I heard quiet sobs from within. I avoided that sound whenever I passed his door. It felt like something I wasn't supposed to hear. Once, I saw him collapse to his knees while holding a letter. The envelope had the bank's red stamp across it. He stayed there at the front door for a long time, not moving. His shoulders didn't shake anymore. It was like he no longer had the strength to fall apart. My mother never let go of the bottle. At first, she tried to hide it, rinsing soju glasses while doing dishes, or pouring whiskey into water bottles. But after a while, she stopped pretending. From early morning, beer cans and empty liquor bottles piled up on the kitchen table. She moved from one bottle to the next, never once setting it down all day. Sometimes, I tried to meet her eyes. But her gaze was always somewhere else, staring at a stain on the table, or blankly at the stainless surface of the stove. Now and then, she mumbled to herself in a hushed voice,
"Things will get better someday."
But I knew she didn't believe those words, not really. Her hands were trembling. Her eyes, wet. And I couldn't bear to see it. So I kept hiding in my room, under the desk, beneath the blankets. One evening, my father stood silently in front of her as she sat without setting the table. They looked at each other, said nothing. The bottle slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Shards of glass scattered across the kitchen tiles. But neither of them moved. It wasn't the bottle that had broken. It was something long fractured, now simply visible. That night, I realized something. Maybe I was part of the reason. If I had been a better son, maybe my father wouldn't have fallen apart. Maybe my mother wouldn't have drowned herself in drink. Maybe, if I hadn't existed, this house would have stayed whole. So I hid into my room, beneath the desk, under the blanket. I wished not to be seen. I believed that if I disappeared, maybe the house could come alive again. But reality was cruel. The more I hid, the faster it all collapsed.